Hi everybody, it's me, Kelly. Just kind of screwing around today, doing a little bit of ATC work and some steampunk stuff. I got a bunch of steampunk gears in the mail and some die cuts, so I wanted to use them towards a project I'm working on. And I don't know, I figured I'd share some with you. Right now, I'm just painting my die cuts, because some of them are white, and there's nothing white in steampunk that I found. So I think for now I'm going to go ahead and just paint them in some of the colors that I believe are closely related to steampunk. So right now, oh well, that's just not even funny. Some of these are foiled. Some of the dies that were sent to me are foiled. You know, they were cut out on foil paper. So I'm going to glue them down, and when I glue them down, after they dry, I'll kind of scuff them up a little bit, you know, so they don't look so brand new and they look more industrial. And, sorry. There we go. These are some ATCs I've made, and I've painted them, and I've stamped them, and just kind of went all the way around, you know, steampunking. And right now that's about all I got on that one. But I'm not done, so. But I've got the other sides of these done, which I'm not going to show you because that has to do with the project I'm doing. So I wanted to work on the opposite sides that still needed a little bit more than just paint or stamps. This one is my background on this one. And then, you know, different colors, different shades. There's a lot of, there's gold, worn penny, blue lagoon, some black in there, some silver, and some champagne. And those are some of the colors that I have right here that I'm using to paint my gears. So I started with a layer of the blue lagoon. I started painting before I hit play or hit record, so I kind of started without y'all, but it's all good. So I'm going to set these aside for a minute and let these dry. I've got another one, but I'll just set that aside over here because I really want to work on focusing on painting these. Alright, they were just regular white die cuts rather. And there we go. I just started with a sparse layer of the blue. Make sure these aren't stuck. And since I try to recycle everything, what I'm using here as a backdrop for my me painting my gears is a card base. Let's see. Let's slide these off. See, it's got the automatic fold in it, or the crease. What do you call it? The score. Thank you. That's the word. So I figured I'd put some color texture on this at the same time I'm painting my gears. Well, kind of a two-in-one deal. So obviously I'm going to move my gears around so I can get a little bit of a variance on where the colors are going to be. I think that's all. And right now I'm going to get my paintbrush and poke it into, I'll do a little bit of worn penny. Oops, that's a little bit too much. And just kind of, you know, now it's watered down. Just kind of add some interesting layers to it. A worn penny is a really strong color. So, I mean, even if you use it on your jelly plate, because I was jelly plate painting some of my dies last night, my die cuts. And, you know, seeing if it would be a lot quicker. And it was. I just didn't feel like digging out the ones I did last night. And I still had a bunch to do. So, I figured I'd probably go ahead and... Now, of course, if I get aggravated and it's just taking too long for me, I'll dig out the deli plate, which is just to my left. There we go. Make sure I move them a little so they don't stick like they did last time. And it's all about layers, you know. Let's see, this is another, this one I just painted. See, I just started it, but hopefully it'll look steampunky enough. So while I'm chatting and these are drying, I might go ahead and just get out the jelly plate because it does look like it might go a little bit quicker. But I'll have to run in the other room and get some cardstock and stuff that I can use as, you know, the backdrops for painting my gears. Okay, so while these are drying, I'm going to pause for a second and run and get some paper, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I went and got some cardstock, and since my jelly plate is only a 5x7, I'm cutting down my paper to 5.5 by 7.5. Those measurements are so that I've got an edge or a border to manipulate the paper and lift it up and set it down to and from on the jelly plate. Because if I made it exact, it would be kind of difficult to peel up the paper. Now the extras off the 8.5 by 11 cardstock I'm cutting, I'm saving obviously, because when I run out of these, the 5x7s that I'm cutting, I can use those, and I use those a lot of times for picking up excess paint, just pulling color off of the, you know, a spot of the jelly plate that I might not want color there. So we're going to, I got both white and ivory color. This is Nina 110-pound cardstock. I got it on sale at Staples, actually. So before we pull out the jelly plate, I want to go ahead and use up what's here. Okay, and that's kind of a little bright for me, so what I might do is grab a little bit of, I've got some metallic black. It's not glitter paint, it's metallic. I've heard a lot of people say it's really hard to find. I think I ordered this, oh phooey. I forget the name of the website I use, but I ordered it online and I got it for like $1.57. And usually the metallic paints at like Hobby Lobby and stuff like that are $1.99 and up. But I'm just going to put a little bit there. And use a little bit of, it's a little bit watered down because the black is so strong. I just didn't want it to overcome or overpower the colors that I already have on the die cuts. So, but I just wanted to kind of tone them down because they were still a little bit too bright for me. You know, because the steampunk style is that industrial, yeah, dystopian, that's the word I was thinking of, type look. The dystopian future where everything is broke down and mechanical at the same time. So, like I said, I'm just toning these colors down just a tidgy bit. But it's with metallic paint as well, so I won't lose any of the shine or the shimmer or anything else that, woo, that one went flying, that metallic paints are apt to give. And I don't know, for some reason I like using the metallic paints when I do steampunk. I don't know why, because there's not really anything shiny. It's all dull and dingy and gray and grungy and stuff like that. But for some reason I like that extra shimmer. So it's kind of my take on steampunk, I guess. Or my interpretation, I guess that's what people call it. Okay. Now it kind of looks like a hot mess, doesn't it? I think that was the one I wanted. Yeah. A little bit over here. Okay. Now, I didn't totally overpower it with the black, and it looks a little bit darker than it really is. But just adding that little bit of grunge to it kind of makes it a little more authentic. So for now, we'll set this over here. When that dries, I'll probably touch it up with a little bit of my champagne, which is kind of like a silver. And we'll just kind of set these off to the side, let them dry, as long as they don't stick together. Okay. Two more. Now these were some of the things I was jelly plating last night. You can see that. It looks more teal than anything, but some of my colors just kind of mixed together too much. So since I've got a lot of teal on that one, or that Blue Lagoon actually, I'm going to go ahead and touch these up. Since I got paint on this whatchahickey that I'm trying to use up, so I figured I might as well just use up what I can. I got to put a little bit there just so it'll blend. There we go. And I've got my paintbrush a little bit watered down. I haven't watered the paint down. All right, but my paintbrush has a little bit more water in it than I would normally leave in it before I would use acrylic paint, rather. Only because, you know, I don't want as much opacity as I do just a hint of the color. And I want to be able to see the colors underneath as well. So when it's watered down just a little bit, see, for in this instance, you can still see the Blue Lagoon underneath. And yet the copper comes out, or the 1 penny comes out as well. Now, let's do a little bit of 1 penny, since that's kind of already on there. I'm kind of doing them backwards. I'll start with the 1 penny and go over it with copper and then touch it up with black, or I'll start with black and then, you know, go over it with copper and touch it up with with the Blue Lagoon. It's whatever I happen to have out at the time that I'm doing it. So, pull another one over here and add some 1 penny to that. Add some to that. What's really cool with the Gelli plating is it's with the mono printing, it's so neat because it's like you can get so many different effects at the same time. You're creating, see, now this one's got a little bit of that, but it's also got more black on it. So what I'll do here is I'll add a little bit of the blue just in places. I don't want to disguise the black all the way, but there we go. Give that a little bit of, it's supposed to look like, you know, rust and grunge, and I hope I'm accomplishing that. Because I don't want to, you know, don't want it to look like crap. But my version or my vision of what steampunk might be, it might be different than yours. Might be different than, you know, the next person's. Yep, my dad says that's what it's all about. Now see, I put too much there, and I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I take my little bitty napkin and just kind of dot some of that off. In there. I don't know if you can see that as well. That's kind of what I got going. And I get some of these done, and then we'll start decorating the ATCs. But I like using the Gelli plate. It gives you so many ideas. And what's so cool is this what I'm about to tell you has nothing to do with Gelli plate, but I was using my my watercolors the other day, and I had extra water on the outside of the container. All right, and well, I'll kind of show you. As you spray your watercolors down, okay, with the water, and then sometimes it overflows and you get water down in the channel between your colors. Well, I used a tissue because I have my box of Kleenex next to me to clean up the excess water that was in there. You know, I just bunched up the tissue and tucked it down in there and let it set, and it soaked up what was down there. And I'm sure this is not the first time that anybody's seen this, but it's the first time it ever happened to me, so I thought it was really, really cool. Look what it did to my napkin. Can you see the colors on that? Look at those purples and the blues. And I didn't intend for that to happen. It was just, I crumbled up the tissue like this and then just fit it so that it would reach down in there. And I dabbed it and then just let it set so it would soak up the extra water. And that's what it came out with. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so pretty. It's tie-dye-like. But those are what Bob Ross always called happy accidents. You know, Bob Ross the painter. But, yeah, so this one's got a lot of blue on it. Where's it at? Okay, I'm kind of out of frame here. Apologize about that. And this one's got a little bit too much blue on it, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of touch it up with the worn penny. I've got copper and I've got Venetian gold, but I think worn penny is my favorite. I'm going to water my paint down a little bit, or my brush, not my paint. There we go. And I'm going to touch a little bit of grunge on it, is what I call. Add some grunge. What's cool is that when it's also watered down, it doesn't stay in such a static position. So, you know, it kind of blends itself out a little bit. we go. You don't want it to look like deliberate paint strokes. It's got to have some in it. You see how this one kind of calmed down a little? It's trying to keep the glare since it's metallic. There we go. I think that one might need a little bit more black. Okay, I really like how this one turned out. And these are mostly dry already, so I'm just going to kind of set those aside. Now, that ain't perfect, but when you add some more colors, it'll give you a good basis for a background anyways, different layers of texture. So we'll set this aside for a minute. No, I haven't used up all my paint, but I figure by the time I do that, I may not need my Gelli plate anyways, and I kind of want to play. So, I like the backgrounds it makes. There's my paper. Okay, so I'm going to grab a piece of my cardstock and just set it down right there. I've seen Barbara Gray do this on Clarity stamps, and it makes sense. I'm sure other people do it too, but I think she's the first one I saw do this. So I will give her the credit for my knowledge about this. And then just kind of lay the thing down on it. Semi-centered. Like I said, this is a 5x7 Gelli plate, and I cut a 5.5 by 7.5 inch papers. So it's not quite exact on top to bottom, but for all intents and purposes, it's good to go for me. Alright, and since, let me get my paper towel. Since I have so much paint here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and transfer it to the Gelli plate. Obviously, it's not going to be enough paint. I'm going to leave the black there for a minute. So I will add just a little bit more. Just a little, because it's a small Gelli plate. Do the gun. That'll be fine. And actually, I think I'm going to add... Nope, that's regular black. That's not what I want. Oh, that's yellow. I don't want yellow. There it is. I'm going to add a little bit of matte purple. This one's called Purple Pansy. Just a little. Oop. Well, that's a little. Okay. I didn't even have to squeeze, which is good. We'll put that right there. Alright, and then I'll get my brayer. Oh, that's right. I don't have a brayer, a roll-off, so let me see. Can't remember everything.
Japanese are automatically put an intentional care in the painting. You did not want to affect that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll use the back of my Serendipity papers. I have a video on this. I think it was one of my first videos I did. It was where you Mod Podge scraps that you have in a drawer or something somewhere. They're kind of too much where you don't want to throw them away, and not enough that you can really do anything with them. So I just Mod Podged a lot of them to another piece of paper. And some people call them Frankenstein papers. Some people call them, you know, just scrap papers. And some, I think I heard one lady call them serendipity papers, and I like that word, so I use that one. Now that one didn't want to spread out. I think I waited too long. And my thing is, I love this color. Probably should do some black on it, but I'll do that later. So right now, I'm going to lay my dies. See, I can either get a whole bunch on here or just a few, but since what I'm trying to do is going to save, hopefully save time, I do want to leave a little bit of space between these because the background paper will look really cool when I'm done. Oh, don't want that one. So all I'm doing is kind of fitting it in, almost like you would see them fit together in a machine. Although I'm sure the logistics of this one is probably making any engineer looking at this going, you know, trying to pull his hair out, going, no, it doesn't go that way. It won't work. Yep, Dad says, yes, it'll work because he's an engineer. He knows these things.
Engineer.
Oh, an engineer. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's an engineer.
I can spell it too.
Oh, he said he can spell that one. Tell you what, oop, that one just fell. That's all right. His goofy self likes to swap. See, I'm even having troubles, and I'm a grown-up. He likes to swap the first letter of words. Like, you know, instead of tie your shoes, it would be shy your twos. He just likes to, well, he used to confuse the heck out of my grandchildren. He still does, because they still have to catch themselves sometimes. When they were learning how to speak and learning how to form words and stuff. And, well, yeah, apparently, you know, he confuses himself sometimes. I may have brought this up on another video. But he'll confuse himself and he'll come out with something that sounds so totally off the wall. And I really hope I'm doing this fast enough because I don't want the paint to dry. If the paint dries, then we don't get the look we want. And I did discover something last night. I was trying to experiment with my jelly plate to see how many layers of paint I could actually get. And I found out that you really don't want to do more than 2 or 3 layers because your acrylic paint starts to dry and then you end up getting those peel-offs, you know, those chunky peels. I'm going to hurry up and put this down here. And since it sat there for a minute, I'm hoping it didn't dry too much to get an impression. I may have messed up by talking too much, but I was still working. Let's see. Oh yeah, see, a lot of the paint dried. I don't think spraying it will work because that'll mess up my die cuts. But let's see, as long as the die cut's got some paint on it. Now see, that looks cool. Well, I don't know if you can see the colors in that. Okay, focus. It's not going to focus this time. Okay, well, let's see. What's cool is that when you pull these up, they're pretty much dry already. Alright. So yes, we are going to have to hurry this up or not use as many little ones and throw some bigger ones in there and that type of thing. But I love the image left on the jelly plate. Ah, sticking under my fingernails. Well, once we're sure that all the paint is dry, a lot of people use buff titanium or white or something, and I've got white in the other room. I just don't feel like getting it. And I like the ability to be able to add one more layer. Oh, now see, that one didn't even get any color on it. To the colors. So sometimes I'll add a lighter color. Like I've actually, on the browns and the coppers, I've used a blue as a reactivator to pick up the last print. Or I've even used red. I've used copper as a reactivating paint. Yeah, I didn't figure these would get them because these were the last ones. There's not a lot of paint there. Well, that one got a little bit. So let's see if we can get any more off of this. Nope, I think this is pretty much dry. Best way to tell is grab a scrap piece and rub it over the top. Anything that comes up, yeah, it's dry. Okay. So I'm going, this time around, I'm going to go ahead and use the my champagne. Okay. I don't think my table is very level because I'm not getting a really good brayer effect on this champagne. Now it's a very thin layer. You can see that, right? As long as it's thick enough to reactivate the paint. I'm going to put a little bit more on there. There we go. Alrighty. I'm going to grab one of these. Excuse me. See if it'll pick up the rest of that paint and the imprints from the die cuts. Not too much. But that's still pretty. That's a good background. And I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to add some more paint. This time, I think I'm going to add, oh, alrighty, where's my cup? There it is. Okay. Add a little bit of red. And that's going to sound goofy, but I'm going to add a little bit of green. Huh. Oh, that's you, Devin. My grandson's behind me. I thought I was hearing ghosts. The booger bear. Okay, a little bit of green. That's Christmas green, and the red, which is both metallics, was real red. Now, obviously, I only put a little bit of that Christmas green on, and you can see how strong and bold it is. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just touch it down. See, it's going to add a little bit of color to it in different spots. And the paper that this was cut on has got a really nice linen weave to it. So you can kind of see the texture in the paper as well. Well, it's not much, but yeah, I don't want to put a whole bunch on it and totally wreck the look. Let's use some of these that I already have. A little bit of color on it. Now, obviously, I can only do this so often until the paint dries. And then when it does, we'll add another color. And the imprints of these gears will still be on the jelly plate, which is really cool. Yeah. I like that red line through that. Can you see that red line? I don't know. There it goes. Just faint. And let's put this one down here. I think the paint's getting too dry. So we'll see. Like I said, all it is about adding layers of color. And sometimes this is not something that one person might like, but I find it absolutely fascinating. Because no print you ever do will ever be the same as another one. I want some more red on this one. This is a big one. So let's just kind of pat this down and then pick it up. Pat it down and pick it up. And I believe that's about all we're going to get out of this one. Maybe a little bit more. Let's see. Okay. Now the red, it seems, takes a little bit longer to dry than most of the other colors. There we go. And that one, I think, is pretty much on its last legs. Alrighty. And then, see, it's not totally dry because some of the paint's coming up. But most of it is pretty much dry. And once that's the case, then you can add your next layer. Which is usually, sometimes some people add a stencil or just another color. For me, I don't think I have any steampunk or gear stencils or anything like that. I might, but I don't remember. Oh, and then with this, like this, we used red and green. So let's try, the activating color will be Blue Lagoon. We'll see how that looks when we pull it up. Okay. Actually, I think I want a white one for this. Oh, where'd you go? Ain't gonna help if I don't get it. Let's try the other side. I can't find my white ones. Oh, see, now that looks cool. Look at that. trying to keep the glare off. There we go. Okay. Now let's try a little. Where are we at? Uh-oh. There we go. I don't think this is going to work, but we'll see. Okay, where'd my black go? And put it back. Now the black is, like I said, is a pretty overpowering paint. So I'm going to just mix it with my, my champagne and see how that comes out. I don't want to totally completely mix it because obviously, you know, I want the variation and the difference in the colors, but you see that looks pretty. There we go. That's what I like. And I'm going to go ahead and take this and roll off some of this on here. And there we go. Let's see. Set that aside, and I'm going to start putting these down. That'll do it a little bit faster. There we go. And okay. And there we go. I didn't lollygag and wait to cover the whole surface, but I still think, I hope it's spread out enough that it kind of balances the eyes anyway. Check that out. Can you see that without the glare? Isn't that cool? And it wasn't so strong that it took out the other colors. Let me see. There it goes. We just added some grunge to it. Oh yeah. I'll go ahead and pull these off. Still have a few here that need a little bit of work. And, you know, some people may say, hey, they're done. They look good. I like them, but like I said, with Steampunk, you don't want a lot of white showing, and I still have some white on some of my dies, my die cuts. So I'm going to get those ready to put on. And the other ones that don't, I'll just set them aside, and I think that one still has some. See if any of these do. That one does. And this one does. Alrighty. And we can let this dry or we can wipe it off. It doesn't matter. And since I'm going for grunge and I'm not going for perfection, I'm just going to leave it there. Some people will wipe it off and start all over, but I think the different patterns that are left on there, because you can see them. I can tell from the camera, you can see them from right there. So I'm just going to leave that there. And I don't really want purple. I don't really want Well, yeah, I could probably do the black and the silver again because I still have some here, but I didn't want to do that. So let's get my favorite green. We'll do some peridot and some espresso, some rich espresso. And both, again, are metallics. All right. I think when that metallic peridot is absolutely beautiful. That's going to be really thick in some spots. Okay, so I'm going to do this up here. And because of the peridot, I'm going to go ahead and pick up just a little bit and add it to the card. The card base. Alrighty, and we'll take this side and lay it down. And we'll just pick all that up. Oh, now see, look at that. I love that. Can't really see the color as well. I probably should have done it on white and not the ivory, but that still looks really awesome. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and do the peridot and the espresso again.
Espresso.
No, not espresso. Oh, it's not espresso. There is no stinking X in the word espresso.
Espresso.
Oh. Okay, yes, I'm not a grammar Nazi. Yes, I am a grammar Nazi. Okay, I cannot stand it when folks don't know how to speak. I'm sorry. They refuse to use proper English. Now, I understand there are some that don't know how, and that's fine. That is just perfectly fine with me. But those who do, who have an education and refuse, that's willful ignorance. And that drives me crazy. Dad says Okay. See, I got it coming at me from all sides. It doesn't matter. I'm crazy, and I've earned it. Or Dad says Okay, crazy and I've earned it. I've definitely earned it. My name should go down in the Insanity Hall of Fame, and they should have a day of remembrance named after me. Period.
Everybody should giggle.
And everybody should giggle. No, I don't lick windows, and I don't eat crayons. Because actually right now I'm out of crayons, so I've been kind of craving them lately. Yeah, Dad says I ate them all. No, this time he ate them all. But otherwise. Alrighty, give me some paper. Okay, on this one, I'm going to use some of the scraps and just go along the edge. There. And this one I was using earlier for testing wet paint. I'll just put that along the edge. That way nothing gets wasted.
Second shelf. They're hard to get in. There you go. Okay.
Now, I want to show you something. Alright. When the paint is still wet, if you possibly can, make sure if you want a good clean impression on your next print, see how there's a little bit of paint buildup right here and over here, up here, that didn't all come off with the first print. If you can at all possible, try and clean it up around the die, you know, by pulling it up as much as you can. See, the paint's already dried, so it's not going to do that for me. But you get a cleaner image that way. for your second print, if you're able to make the lines around whatever you laid on your jelly plate, you know, cleaner by cleaning up the excess paint. And I'll show you what I mean here when I get these pulled up. Okay, see, some of them are not even picking up all the paint. I didn't press hard enough. Wow, that one didn't get any. Wow. Okay, yeah. So this one dries a lot faster. And that was my Peridot and the Rich Espresso. Isn't that what I put down? Yes, Jacob wants to go to the store. Ooh, you got one of my hairs that are painted and it's now green. Lovely. Okay. Oh, now see, these aren't even coming up. Yeah, they didn't even hardly get any paint at all. So we'll just set those aside. Okay, but I'll show you an example. Look right in here. See how the paint, it dried too fast before I could get my imprint. I don't know how to stop that from happening. Maybe work faster, but I'll see how much faster I could go. Oops. Slide right out. As opposed to this side where it's a little bit more cleaner. Now when we pull the second print, the second image, you'll see the difference in what I mean about how crisp these images are as opposed to what these will be. Oh, wait, what these will be. So that's what I meant about doing too many layers. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Stuck on my finger now. The acrylic paint starts to solidify almost and get gummy. Okay, that's not coming off and you won't see it on that finger because it's too painted. Anyway, you see that right there? I don't know if you can see that or not. I just pulled it off the edge of my jelly plate because it's paint that's kind of built up. Yes, you do. Okay, well then maybe he doesn't. Okay, so that was the Peridot and the Espresso. So what color could we put on that would give it a really good contrast? All right, how about some pink? Just for poops and giggles. We'll see how that comes out. No, they got to go home after church. I know. I said it's going to be one of those things that it's pink. It's not red. It's pink. And actually, there's enough on here. It's just spreading it takes it a minute. See that? Oh. Okay. See, I added some pink to that, so it's getting some more color. That's that card base I started with.
Oh, Brie?
Brie, B-R-I-E is the name of the cheese. If you get it, I don't even know if Walmart carries it. Oh no, the bread is the Bollios, B-O-L-L-I-O-S. It's in a bag, like you'd find the French bread, and it looks like a bunch of rolls, long oblong rolls. B-O-L-L-I-O-S. Pronounced Bollios. No, I thought that's what you wanted. No, all I need is the Bollios for dinner tonight.
Good stuff, man.
Yep, good stuff, Schmed. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just lay this one that didn't finish all the way. Just lay this one on top. I hope I didn't talk to Dad too long. And are you going, sweetie?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want? Oh, now see, it didn't even cover up the other, and it added more.
I want to, but I can't just leave my friends and move the game.
That's okay. Now that's cool. It's got the double layers from the one below it, and then the top one. And that's really cool. Okay, so I'm going to set that down. We got both sides. Okay, let me get some more. Make sure I got paper ready. Okay, I do. This one's done both sides. Set it aside. This one still needs a little bit of help, but it's still a good base. Close the door, sweetheart. I love you. I'll see you in a little bit. Got my grandsons this weekend. Yay! And Jacob, my oldest, is sitting behind me. Well, he's not my oldest grandson, but he's my second oldest grandson. He's sitting behind me playing his Xbox, and his little brother Devin is went up to the store with Dad so we can get the stuff. We're having meatball subs tonight, and I don't like using the sub rolls that you get that say they're for subs because they're so heavy and there's just so much bread. And I found several years ago, it's a really light roll, and they're called bollos. And the only place I've ever seen them is at Walmart. Now, if you don't speak any sort of Spanish or know any language, and you look in the store for it, it's going to look like it's bolillos. But the outside is like, it's like a French bread roll. And it's light, and it's kind of airy. But it's not something that if you put anything on it, it's going to just disintegrate. So what we do is we like meatball subs. And we'll take a knife or something, and we'll cut the side of the bollo, and then just kind of pull it apart a little. And I don't know, it just seems like the perfect thing. And then it looks almost like a little bread bowl, and you spoon your meatballs and your sauce in, and then you sprinkle the mozzarella cheese on top, whatever, however you like it, and you eat it just like that. And I really, 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 really like it. So what I'm going to do next is a little bit of green. Okay. And I'm going to throw in some Venetian gold. Now, it doesn't look like you'd be able to tell the difference between the worn penny and the gold. Okay, here's the worn penny, obviously, and here's the gold. It's not a very strong gold. So the most it does on a dark project is give it like a gold sheen. But I'm curious to see what it'll look like next to this green. As long as I don't make it disappear, I think it'll be okay. Let me get that other card over here so I've got something to roll it on. Alright, so let's try this. Oh goodness, this reminds me of Mardi Gras. We just got done doing a challenge for Mardi Gras. And I did a lot of jelly plates on Mardi Gras for Mardi Gras. So, but it was actually fun. You know, I learned a lot. And I tried to share my information or my knowledge with you guys. Now, whether it works or not is a whole nother story. So I'm just going to kind of toss these on here and hope they work. I'm not putting them in any particular order. Put that there. That one there. Just the ones that have a little bit of white on them still on the one side. Now, it's not very dark coloring, so it may not cover what I'm hoping it will. But at the same time, it'll still give it another layer of color. So let's use the back of, did I get the, yeah, that one's done. Okay, we're going to use the, well, let's try the front of this and see how that works. See if we can kind of get the same effect we did with the pink, where you can still kind of see through it and see the different layers from the different prints. And that was what I was going to say. I tried using different layers of paint on the jelly plate at one time to get the layers. Doesn't work. Like I said, it'll peel up and get all gummy and make a mess. But you can layer it. Oh, see, now that looks pretty cool. But what's funny is it's got the purple, gold, and green from Mardi Gras colors. Anyway. Oh, good. Oh, see, now that one didn't. That one is not. I'm going to have to paintbrush that one, I think, because that one just does not want to take any color. Neither does that one. Figure after laying them down on 3 or 4 separate jelly plates, it would pick up, but maybe it's the texture in the. It might be the texture in the paper that was used. It's not allowing a great contact for the gears to pick up the paint. So that's okay. I'll push these others aside. And I'll just touch up with what colors I can with the paintbrush. We'll do it that way. And then I think that'll be all the gears we're going to do for now, since I had to do several layers just for this little batch right here. Okay, well, now see, that one came out kind of cool. Came out with the dark green. Alrighty. You see the pictures, the imprints left on that? That'll make a really nice second print. And I'll do it on the other side of this. Yeah. Now what color do I want? It's golden green. I do not want purple. Okay, we'll do the Blue Lagoon. Actually, we'll do blue and a little bit of black. Kind of tone that down a little. See, the black, when you spread it out, isn't that opaque. It's pretty translucent as far as the jelly plate's concerned. But, let's see how that looks. Now, see what I was saying about using a 5.5 by 7.5 piece of paper. It gives you a really nice kind of frame in case you wanted to, like, for instance, while this one's setting, this one, it's kind of off, but you can always trim it if you need to. But it would make a good, you know, piece of an insert for a journal. It would even make a good card, greeting card for any purpose, whatever. That's why I like doing both sides. And since right now my objective, honestly, is to, I really like this. This came out really nice, this one. Is just for coloring my gears, this extra, you know, bonus by being able to pick up the last of the paint. Whoops. See, that's where the black didn't spread out, but that's okay. And now I will get a baby wipe. Clean off my jelly print, my jelly plate. I still have some paper left, but I really don't need it right now. What I think is really cool is I've still been looking online, and I have not found anybody else that has done the project that I'm going to do. And yes, sweetheart, you can have those. Are you hungry other than just the Fritos, like snacky wise, or do you want something to eat? We've got chili. You don't like cheese on eggs, or I'd say we have some leftover breakfast, but I make my own version of Denny's Scram Slam. I don't like how restaurants cook their eggs. I can't eat them if there's any brown on them. I know, it's just the way I am. Makes me sick when I see it. Okay. Another hint is never put your jelly plate away wet or damp. Because I've heard folks say that their jelly plate has molded. You know, because this is just made from glycerin, water, gelatin, and alcohol. But apparently it's not enough alcohol to keep it from mildewing if it's closed up damp. So, there we go. Now I'll leave that open, let it dry, and then I will close it up tomorrow and later. I'll put the paper off to the side. I'll clean my brayer in a little bit. Alrighty. Now, oops. See, now that black is still wet from earlier. Trash. Need to get my paper towel back. Alrighty, I don't see a lot of the coppers, so I'll go ahead and put that down here. I see a lot of green, so I want to add in green or blue. Let me go ahead and grab a little bit of black. Okay. And I'll push these aside instead of trying to move them over. I will just do them right here. So let's try the copper first. It's pretty vague, or pretty translucent right now, because it's, like I said, I don't clean off the water on my brush as strongly as, you know, I probably could, but like I said, I want to be able to see the layers. So you still get the color, but you get the translucence as opposed to the opacity. Now, obviously translucence means, you know, semi-see-through or see-through. Opaque means, you know, you can't see through it. As old as I am, I just said see-through or not see-through. You know, I never knew there was a term for it or never paid attention much, actually. Not because I didn't know, but, once I learned, I used the correct words. Okay. Well, because of my little, I don't know, my irritation at, you know, people using words that I think it has to do a lot with my dad pulling all that crap growing up, you know. That's not the right word. Well, it's the one I use. That's not how you spell it. Well, it's how I spell it. That's always been his excuse. That's how I spell it. So, okay. Now, the ones that didn't end up picking up a lot of the color from the jelly plate is the ones I'm touching up now. Okay, I'm going to add some watered down metallic black to that. Oh, that's way too much. Okay. Let's dot that off. There we go. Like I said, it's not that I so much want it to look like there's black paint on it. I just want to grunge it down. And using a black metallic paint is probably not the best idea. But at the same time, it works for me. I have the matte over here, the matte black, but this seems to work. So I'll just continue to use the method that works for me. Let's put it that way. And, you know, in a little while I might change my mind and say, ooh, I don't like it, and add some more color to it or something. Now, obviously, if you want the color more deep and darker, I wouldn't add as much water. So, it seems like a lot of work on just a couple of die cuts. But sometimes just spending an afternoon kind of mass producing them and just getting them out of the way. After they dry, you know, you put them in a baggie or you put them in your little file thing. And you go back and look at them at another day. See, this is what I hold my dies in. This one is my Steampunk one. And I've been able to fill it, thanks to some friends of mine who answered a call for help. Oh, phooey. Okay, let's make sure. I think some of these are going to stick. That's because I waited too long to move them. That's okay. It's usually just little itty-bitty ones that stick. See, they're pretty much already dry. And see, there's a bunch over here that I haven't done yet. Yeah, I asked for some help, and they gave it to me in spades. I was so blessed. Alright, now these are kind of, I need a little bit more color in those. These are the ones that have just a peridot and rich espresso on them. So I want to add, now water it down a little bit. Okay, I want to add a little bit of color to these. Now I really watered down my 1 penny because I didn't want, I mean, it's really bright when it's used straight up. So right here, here, and here, I like those. But I'm going to add a little bit of, hopefully, you know, the worn penny is supposed to simulate rust. Now, there are some parts that look really rusty and some that look like they're getting rusty, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Whether it works, I don't know. But I like the process. So, I guess that's all that matters, right? I was going to work on my ATCs, you know, now that I got some of my die cuts done, but I don't know. I really don't want to do a whole super long video tonight. And my grandkids are here, and when they get back, my dad and my other grandson gets back from the store, I will probably just log off so I can make dinner. But I've had fun. I love the jelly plate process. I like doing videos. And I don't want to waste any paint. And I'm pretty sure I'm done with the, there we go. Look how pretty that is with the pinks. I don't know if you can see that or not. And that's just the front of that card I started. And I'm going to use the last of the bronze, or the copper penny, and just kind of fill in some spots. Give it a little bit more of a warmth. Because pink and black are kind of cool colors. The teals and the blue lagoons, that's a cool color. Mostly I gravitate towards the warmer ones for my art. But I'm kind of I'm watering that down because I don't want it so pronounced. I don't know. I'm kind of going outside my own box, and that's a good thing, I think. Experimenting and learning. And that's all about art anyways. It's not the final product. It's the process on your way to the final product. Because I don't think any art is ever totally finished. I don't. Because if you can look at something and say there's absolutely nothing else that can possibly be done to that piece to make it any better than what it is, then your art is never complete. And since art has a different meaning and a different sense of beauty to each person individually, all right, that'll never happen because no two people are going to be able to agree on what finishes an art piece. Now me, I like that. I know I'm looking at my monitor and I'm not seeing the depth of color that that is actually on this piece. But at the same time, it's still, I said, it worked for what I needed it to. You know, a roll-off piece for my brayer, a piece to put my gears on when I was hand painting on. And then when I got done, I thought, add a little bit of this and that, and I've got a pretty good background for a card, or even if I didn't want to use this as a card and use it as something else, you know, I think that's pretty cool. So, but on that note, I think I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for hanging out with me. I know I didn't do as much as I wanted to, but that's okay. I said the art process is never finished, right? I want you all to have a wonderful day. Remember to keep the humor in life, because if you don't, life gets really, really boring. Really boring. And hope to see you soon. Remember, if you like my videos, click the thumbs up and subscribe, please. If you think somebody else might like my videos, share it. If you want notification when I post a video, click the little bell icon next to the subscribe button and it'll give you a notification that I've uploaded a new video. I haven't done any lives yet, and I don't know if I'm going to until probably after the new year. Yeah, there's medical reasons for that, but that's okay. But on that note, I'm going to let you go. And like I said, everybody have a wonderful day. God bless.